All right, it's that time of the week. Cole Cubelic in the office here to get fired up. We're talking about the cut block. Deshaun Hand getting injured this week.
That would be more the chop block, which we'll get into later.
We will get into that.
Cut block could be.
Cut, chop. All right, so Deshaun Hand gets injured this week, hurt his MCL. Saban says he's out this week, maybe next week. He says the move was legal. It was not illegal. However, he's an advocate to make that move illegal. Why is this cut block move legal?
Well, they're dangerous. Anytime you go low, there's a higher risk of hurting someone's lower extremities, be it knee or ankle or even hip. But there are a lot of advantages within the offensive line and offensive line play where blocking somebody below the waist helps or is almost necessary. There was one play from the game that a lot of folks that even work here wanted to try to have fun with and make fun of when all the Ole Miss offensive linemen, you see them go down and Shea Patterson doesn't get rid of the football, so all of a sudden that looks like a very clownish play. The reality is that's quick protection, and Shea Patterson's looking for a quick passing lane that's going to be behind the defensive line. So your goal of that play is to quickly go down as an offensive lineman, not to be funny and lay on your belly, but so that defensive lineman has to hopefully react with their hands to keep you away from their lower extremities rather than get their hands up in a passing lane. So that's just one. When you pull out on the perimeter and you're running a screen, a lot of times if I'm pulling out on you, somebody who weighs 200 pounds less than me, you're going to be a lot quicker than I am. So I want to try to go low, not even necessarily to get you to the ground. If I do, great, and that's the ultimate goal, but the likelihood of that is very slim. So really it's all about providing more surface area on the ground that you have to get around. And so with the backs and the receivers in this league, they're hitting that hole fast enough where if you just have to make one move around me, all of a sudden that could be an explosive play. So those are some of the things as to why you might go low on somebody.
So those are the things that are valuable. Some of the defensive guys talking about this move saying, you know, the cut block's not something they're a big fan of. Injuries happen.
Sure.
How do you defend against that? As a defensive guy, how do you protect yourself from that?
Use your hands. It's the only way. And you look at the conflict in some of these plays, Lauren, would be similar to what we saw with Deshaun Hand. He had to make a decision with his eyes. Now, he plays the play perfectly because he slides flat down the line of scrimmage. His eyes were on the mesh point where they're probably taught to be because he wants to know if the running back takes the football, I'm going to attack him. If the quarterback keeps the football, I'm going to attack him. So he's doing a good job of trying to make the play. But it's difficult in your peripheral vision to see that offensive lineman coming. Now, a lot of times, if you're just expecting him to come high and take you on its shoulder or hip level, you can keep your eyes on that mesh point and you can just take it on however you deem necessary. And he's usually big enough, strong enough to be able to do that. Now, that guy comes in and goes low. All of a sudden, you don't see it as quickly. Your reaction time's not there, and it's difficult. So the best way to defend it is you have to use your hands. And you'll see a lot of guys, like there's a technique that Florida State uses in quick protection. When they go low, they almost do like a rhino technique where they'll go low and they pop their heads up after they go at the knees.
We know you like the rhino,
I love rhinos. I love rhinos. And that technique's very effective because I tell people all the time, if you're in pass pro, the easiest way to get somebody's hands down, it's not going at the knees or the ankles. It's face mask between the legs. That has 100% effectiveness as far as I've seen, as far as I know. And I try to use it. So you put your face mask.
I wouldn't know.
You put your face mask there.
Yeah.
The hands are going down.
It's going down.
The hands are going down. So,
okay.
But you have to use your hand as a defender, whether you're an interior defensive lineman, someone's trying to go low, if someone's coming across. The only way to really keep somebody off you is to use your hands, and that's what the great defenders have, great hands.
Okay, clarity. We need some clarity here. I know some fans are talking about the cut block, chop block.
Yeah, two different things. You can cut.
What do you got?
Now, and a clip obviously would be from behind.
Right, okay.
And that can be one-on-one, one person. You block someone from behind, that's going to be a clip. A cut block is anything below the waist. Now, you have the clock that the referees will tell you about, having to face the front, and that's where the cut block should originate from. A chop block, I'm going to need Matt to come up here and help out on this. So if you were a defensive lineman,
okay,
and Matt was an offensive lineman, I don't know which is more egregious of us to pretend who's who here. But let's just hypothetically say we've got a pass play on.
Okay.
And so Matt is going to stand and block you normally like he would. So you approach him, and Matt's blocking you, you don't come in front of me. If I were to attack you low, so if I were to cut you while he's still engaged with you up high, now we have a chop block on our hands, and that's a penalty. And that can happen in the run game, that can happen in pass pro, it can happen in a lot of different ways. But a high-low block is a chop block, and that is illegal, and that is illegal. A cut block is just going below the waist on someone. Now you have to do it from the front. That's how it's deemed legal. But most of the time in the box, they're not really looking to see, and I know the rule book doesn't exactly state it this way, but talking to officials and talking to people who I know the game, they're not paying close attention to if it starts from the front, where you are on the front. If both guys start in the box and the ball has not crossed the line of scrimmage, from what I'm told, they're not going to call a penalty on a cut block in the box.
And Cole, this is why we ask you all the tough questions, because you got it. You know how to demonstrate, show us how it works. We appreciate the insight. We're fired up with Cole Cubelic. Until next time, we'll see you later.